Bună dimineața și bun găsit la BU. Sunt Sabina Iosub și vă invit să rămâneți alături de mine în următoarea jumătate de oră. O să discutăm despre chestiuni care ne interesează, protecția consumatorului la nivel european. Together with me in the European Parliament is Rosa Thun. Thank you so much for your presence. We are going to discuss about the consumer protection. Some things have been made here, have been put in order here at the European level for us, the consumers, the citizens of the European Union. What are the most important in your opinion?
There are many. There are so many issues, so maybe let me start by the last decisions that we have taken in this mandate. Maybe I would choose among the many the Eco-Design Directive. This is, you know, when you buy equipment or whatever, it must last longer, it must be much easier to repair, the spare parts must be available on the market much longer than until now. It will not be easier to throw a fridge away because some small part was broken somewhere and the service is so complicated because this part is so deeply inside that it's not worth it to call the service. And this, the construction will change so that it will be easy to repair. The whole idea is not only to make life of consumers easier, but also the environment. Less production, because the objects that you buy will last longer, and less waste. That means less pollution. There are many issues like this. For example, what I dealt with also was the charger for all electronic mobile devices, like this one, but also everything else.
We will use the same one.
And we will all use...
Thanks to you.
USB-C will be one charger, which is also much easier. You know, I looked just before coming here into my backpack. I have 3 chargers. One for the earphones, one for my laptop, and one for my telephone. It will be one USB-C. And this is also to facilitate our life. That means consumer, but of course also for the environment. We use less raw materials because you will not need so many chargers with you, and less waste. And there are many like this. There are sort of direct profits for consumers and indirect. What I am working on now, for example, is the so-called late payment regulation. That means that is important, especially for small and medium companies. And they are millions on our common market. And that's the companies, those small and medium companies, they deliver services to the consumers directly. Those whom you encounter as consumer are usually the small and medium enterprises. And they are very often paid late, which makes their life very difficult, their development very difficult. They cannot innovate as fast as they would like to in order to serve better, to produce better products, etc. So the proposal is, and we will vote it this month, that the invoices must be paid within 30 days with exceptions. Yes, there are exceptions, but what is important is that those small and medium enterprises function well. These are the enterprises in most of citizens, if they work in an enterprise, they work in them. They give a lot of working places, and they are the ones with which a regular consumer is in touch. We want them to function well, small and medium enterprises.
It was a complicated mandate with a lot of crises on different areas. If we are looking at pandemic, at energy crisis, at what happened and is still happening in Ukraine, I'm referring to the war, also situation in Israel. After the full mandate, what do you think should be done more in terms of protecting the citizens in this area of internal market?
The citizens in general, you know, one thing is the market, of course, but we need protection altogether, frankly speaking. This is an extremely difficult mandate because, as you mentioned, the crisis, which was pandemia, but the war especially. We must protect each other from this war. We will have to spend more, develop more, and become more innovative in order to help Ukrainians, in order to produce more arms, more missiles. Unfortunately, we have to do this, not only to protect ourselves, but also to deliver to Ukraine. Because if Ukraine doesn't win this war, we are the next ones. And we must realize this in Europe. And I think it's a big challenge for us coming from this part of Europe which neighbors
You
Russia.
are from Poland.
I am Polish, which neighbors Russia and Ukraine, to explain it also to our Western partners and friends that this is one world, this is one Europe, it's very small, and that we must really act together, and this is our common war. But I think that we have huge challenges ahead of us. There is this right populism that takes more and more seats in the parliament, which is extremely dangerous because this Europe needs construction and not destruction. This Europe is all of us, and if we are well organized, each of us is stronger. And I think the main challenge is to explain to our citizens that it is our common responsibility to be safe, to be strong, to be well served as consumers, to have clean air and healthy food, and that it needs a certain effort, but that we can come to it if we work really together.
And we have, I'm referring here at the help that both our countries put in Ukraine. We have also to take care of ourselves. And you know what happened in the agriculture, for example, in Poland and in Romania also. Everything is very delicate. Everything should be tackled as perfect as possible in order to protect the European citizens and also help the Ukrainians.
Yes, it is a very difficult issue, a delicate one, and it demands a lot of not only cleverness but also goodwill.
Exactly.
Because, as you say, we must help Ukrainians. They must export their food. We should facilitate their export to third countries. Maybe we cannot keep it on our continent. Maybe we must make more effort in order to help them to export. We must be transit countries at this moment. But we should have been, and it's not the fault of the Ukrainians, but I think, frankly speaking, it's our fault that we haven't prepared this situation better, us, European Union, us, European Commission. This situation should have been prepared much better before the problem started. And once they join, it will really need much better regulations, who produces what and how much, so that there is a balance. And I believe in this win-win situation.
You know exactly what are the problems to be solved at the European level in terms of internal market and consumer protection. Not all of them will be solved in the end of this mandate, actually this month. What should the next European Parliament do for this area?
There will be a lot of work to finish also what we have started, like late payments. This will be continued in the next term. But we have plenty of issues with topics like data protection, like data sharing. We want to open a new policy, common policy, health. Health, as you know, is the national policy until now. Maybe it should become a European responsibility. But there are also smaller issues, but we have struggled for a long time for it. And it's also, the situation is better, but not perfect. Namely, the same quality of products in the whole European Union. Namely, when the product is packed in a either identical or very similar way, it must contain an identical product. And those products, although the situation improved, those products always tend to differ on various European markets.
And in general are not as good as are in the West in countries like Romania or Poland. The double standard we've discussed.
That's what we
about,
say,
yeah.
yes. They defend the position, our Western friends defend their position that this is not quite the same, we have different habits, etc.
Tastes also,
different
yeah.
tastes and habits. I don't believe in those different tastes, frankly speaking, and even if, then you have to wrap the thing, put it in a different packaging so that we know it's a different product, isn't it?
Is the Romanian taste or the Polish taste?
Of course,
for a chocolate, for example, or whatever.
Let us go to have a chocolate and we will see if we have such a different taste. But
I remember, sorry, but I just remembered the discussion about the baby food, the taste for the baby food. Did
exactly.
the baby
we give them habits,
yeah.
and it's much easier to sell products with more sugar because people become dependent.
Yeah.
And there are ministries of health that take good care of their citizens, and they prohibit products with so much sugar. There are plenty of such issues, but when I think also of the internal market directly, we managed to open the borders. That means lift the geo-blocking for physical products.
Right.
But for the digital products, still we are blocked. That means you cannot watch films from another country, switch on television. Even if you listen to music, if you are logged in your own country, you cannot listen to music from another country in a digital way. You can go and buy records, CDs or whatever, but you cannot use it on the internet. And I believe in one Europe, and I also believe very much in the exchange of culture. Culture is what unites us, isn't it? So I would like to have access without any geo-blocking to Romanian films, for example, or television or whatever. This until now is impossible, and I think it's extremely important that in the next mandate that they lift this geo-blocking.
Let's hope they will do so. Thank you so much for this discussion.
Thank you very much.